back. It's Community Conversations. I'm Miss Community Clovia. Joining me on the show this morning is the mayor of the city of Richmond, L. Douglas Wilder. Good morning to you.
As always, good to be with you. And we've been talking about politics and national politics.
Who's going to run for office?
Who's going to run for? But let me just tell you that the government most close to people is that most essential to them. And that's why at the local levels, you've got to know what's going on. There was a book written by a fellow named Charles Landry, and it's called The Art of City Making. And he was saying that the art of city making is the spirit with its necessary creativity and the imagination, and it's more like improvised jazz than chamber music. There's experimentation, trial and error, and everyone can be a leader given a particular area of expertise. As if by some mysterious process, orchestration occurs. Through seemingly unwritten rules, good city making requires any numbers of acts of persistence and courage that need to be aligned like a good piece of music. There's not just one conductor, which is why leadership in its fullest sense is so important. Seemingly disparate parts have to be molded as a whole. So I thought Landry must have been talking about the city of Richmond when he wrote his book.
It was relative.
Because a lot of people, even your listeners, don't know that when this new form of government that we now have was put in place, it changed many of the things we had, and many or most of the elected leadership opposed it. Fortunately, the people wanted it. Editorials were written that suggested that what was taking place was not good. It wasn't making it. In one editorial, they said that there are various sound reasons for the change. They went out of their way to point out that the reform marks an improvement over the process in which members of the city council elect one of their own as the big cheese. That was written by the Richmond Times-Dispatch for 1604. And another, it said that you get into a point where the change stemmed from the city's clear-cut violation of the Voting Rights Act some years ago when they annexed a part of Chesterfield County in 1970. Now, the remedy was progressive at the time for the district system, but this is what the editorial said, has turned out to clash with the city manager system in a frustrating way. Ward healers have been giving far too much sway. Consequently, it's been nearly impossible to form a consensus on anything. For this reason, Richmond has spun its wheels, and a hash of yesterdays warmed over ideas for more than 2 decades, while fairness may have been the goal in 1977. What we've gotten since has been a fractious era, more given to circus than solution. That was written by Star Weekly. Now, what happens on so many occasions, you ticked off a few things prior to taking the break, and I laughed, and we said we'd get back to it. And you ticked off with the $334 million that we've saved, in addition to $300 and so million that we've set aside, separate and apart from that saving, and the $113 million already in the pipeline. No increase in taxes at all. Now, when you put that on the side, if you had to ask your audience to name the things in the last 3 years that they could say that this has been a direct result of what the city council has pushed for and gotten passed, and wait for an answer. And I'm not going to ask your audience to give that answer today. They can wait a week. They can wait a month. They might have to wait a year. But when they come back with that answer, it'll be so little, because we had to fight every step of the way. Just like our chief of police, his budget still being questioned. Here we've got the lowest crime rate in 26 years. People are calling up saying, look, I go to sleep better at night. I don't have the same concerns I had about people breaking into my house. Ride down Broad Street, people are going to the National Theater every time something is there.
Committing crimes in the city of Richmond, you're going to get caught.
You're going to get caught 82% of the time that crime is committed, and we are 20 points over the national average. So my point to you is that if the public takes over its city public takes over the government, it really shouldn't make a difference as to who's in charge of it. As Landry wrote in his book, it's not just one leader. It's all of us working in orchestration together. So as when that music comes forth. Now, in my case, I know people don't like a choir master that says, hey, you're out of tune here, straighten up. They don't like it when they say, look, you got to rehearse again. And they don't like it when they say, no, you can't sing. We're going to have to substitute you, but your voice is a little out of sync. But when that final curtain call comes and the orchestra is called upon, the choir is called upon for a standing ovation, it's everybody that gets the applause, not the conductor. That's what I'd like to see for the city of Richmond.
That's very good. RichmondGov.com, check it out. And Mayor L. Douglas Wilder has a list of accomplishments here. Again, my question is, what accomplishments? Well, anyway, that's some good news. What accomplishments? What have you done?
Have mercy.
Anyway.
Don't you know? You've already ticked them off. But, I'm too well raised to continue to brag.
I know that's right. You're only as successful as right now.
You're mighty
So
kind.
anyway, thank you so much
Always
for...
good, darling.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'll be back.
All right. Richmond
Thank
Mayor L.
you.
Douglas Wilder. I'm Miss Community Clovia. Thank you so much for joining me on Community Conversations.
You've got a lot in that one.
Yeah.
I know he'll be like this.
That's right.
That one.